Exercising and eating right are popular goals for the new year, and now it's time to tackle your finances and get them in shape for 2022. It's Financial Wellness Wednesday, and SchoolsFirst Federal Credit Union wants to help you improve your credit score. Travis Mara is a branch manager for SchoolsFirst, and he's here to help us debunk a few credit score myths. Welcome, Travis.
Welcome. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you on. And Travis, let's start off with the top concern, which is when people feel like they don't have control over their credit score. Is that true or false?
Yeah, although we don't know or have control over the formula, credit bureaus use to determine our credit scores, we do know the ingredients, and that is, length of open credit, the longer the better, our credit mix, secured versus unsecured, our payment history, making our payments on time, and usage. That's how much available credit we have in use. Ideally, you want to keep that around 30%. For example, if you had a $1,000 credit card, you want to keep the balance around $300. Quick formula for you, just take your credit limit, multiply it by 0.30, and that'll be the kind of the max balance you want to keep on all your cards. With that said, we actually do kind of control our credit based on our performance and behaviors. Are we making our payments on time? Are we keeping the balance around that 30%? Are we, keeping a good length of history? Those are kind of the major factors that ultimately determine our credit score, essentially giving us the power of our credit.
Yeah, I like that formula that you use to kind of better understand your max on the credit that you should be using. That's really helpful. And is it fact or fiction that there's a quick fix way to raise one's credit score?
Yeah, I always relate it to kind of diet and exercise. Your credit score does take time to kind of see those improvements and breed those results, but can quickly fall based on the behaviors. Boosting your credit performance, it takes dedication, it takes patience, consistency. The main ingredients to improve it are simple, but there really is no quick fix. You can basically, you're in a position where patience is going to be very, very key. Now, for some people that are fortunate, if you have the ability to take a lump sum and pay down some debt, that is going to be that key quick fix. But keep in mind, even in that position, it's going to take 1 to 2 months to update your credit score.
Yeah, it takes a bit of a process. And like you said, patience is key. And Travis, what about checking our credit score? I personally like to do that, but will it negatively affect our credit if we check it frequently?
Yeah, it's a great one. And for the most part, this myth is false. Now, there are some instances where checking your credit does, decrease your score in a temporarily basis. But to fully understand this, we kind of need to know the difference between hard inquiries and soft inquiries. Hard inquiries are kind of when you are applying for loans, a car, a credit card, or a home loan, for example. Because we're kind of taking on new debt, these hard inquiries do impact our score. Soft inquiries, on the other hand, are kind of when you're applying for a job, maybe in a new apartment or setting up your utility bills. Even when, like you had mentioned, you want to check your own credit score. The great news about soft inquiries is they don't impact your score whatsoever. And as a matter of fact, it's actually encouraged and highly recommended that you do monitor your credit on a quarterly basis. That way you're able to notice any errors on your report or spot identity theft, which is very common.
Yeah, I personally like checking it, like seeing the number get bigger and bigger as I improve it. And what about opening or closing a lot of credit cards to improve our credit score? Is that accurate to do?
On the surface, that kind of sounds like a great plan. When we're opening cards, we are increasing our available limit, we're improving our usage. And if we're closing cards, hey, we're showing responsibility. I'm eliminating any unnecessary debt. But it's important to look at this kind of from the opposite side. When we do open credit cards, those are hard inquiries, and each of those hard inquiries is going to lower the score. We also now are shrinking our kind of our average credit history, and we could pose a kind of a risky profile to lenders when we see a bunch of debt in a short period. So then you're probably thinking, hey, great, then closing cards is the right way to go. And, not quite. It does depend on the card you are closing. By closing it, we are lowering our usage availability and also shrinking the history as well, especially when it's that old college card that we don't really use. So a lot of people ask me, oh my God, what do we do then? And I always say the best approach is, you want to space out your opening and closing. You don't want the short-term impact to affect your long-term goals. If you're in the need of a car or a home loan, you want to make sure you can secure those priority loans prior to opening and closing any other credit cards.
Yeah, Travis, all these tips so helpful. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And for more financial tips, visit schoolsfirstfcu.org.